And Alex, thanks for a very clear perspective on the case for telecoms and where we are today. And I know you may have some agreements, you may have some disagreements, Margherita. Now, you had a very nice, I think a very good write-up in the Sunday Times at the weekend. And you were, I think you christened yourself the glass half-empty boss. And
I didn't christen myself.
You didn't?
I was.
Oh, you were christened as the glass half-empty boss.
I made the mistake of making the remark.
Okay. Now, you've been CEO of Vodafone for just over a year now. You've stated that there's a real need for change in the organization. And could you give us some color as to why Vodafone needs to change and where the group needs to transition to?
Sure. I think it's fair to say Vodafone is changing. Yep. We have, in the last 12 months, ticked quite a few boxes of our list. The reason why we needed to change, and we still need to change, is twofold. It's a combination of the circumstances of the industry we play in, as was clearly illustrated earlier, as well as our own position within it. And on my agenda, I have really 4 key areas of change. The first, which has been already touched upon, was portfolio, choosing where we wanted to play and in which conditions we wanted to play. The second has to do with customer experience and putting customer experience really at the heart of the company. And the reason why I thought this required some fundamental changes is that I think in telcos we have always been very passionate about our technology, our networks, but maybe not as much focused on what our customers also need from us, which is a simple customer experience through all our processes. And therefore, I thought there was a big opportunity in that respect. Mm-hmm. Number 3, also simplifying the way the company works. If we want to focus on customers, it's important that we are flexible, simple, less layers between, if you want, where the decisions are taken in the company and the front lines of the company that actually know what our customers really want. And then finally, B2B. We come from a strong heritage in consumer connectivity. Mm-hmm. That's what we all think about when people think Vodafone. But the reality is that almost a third of our revenues are in B2B. And all companies, as we've heard today, need to digitize. They trust us to help them on the way, to bring them cloud, cybersecurity, digital services well beyond connectivity. And therefore, we have a very big growth opportunity there, which does require rebalancing within the company.
So you've laid out that high-level ambition, that high-level view. How's the transformation progressing?
So a year on M&A, a year ago, I said we needed to take action in 3 markets, Italy, Spain, and UK. Mm-hmm. And in June, we announced the merger in the UK. In October, the sale of Spain. In March, the sale of Italy. Mm-hmm. As a result of that, if we look forward, Vodafone will operate in 17 markets across Europe and Africa, which importantly are going to be all markets in which the industry is growing. And Vodafone itself will have a strong position with good scale to compete effectively in those markets. Yep. On customer experience, clearly much more needs to be done, but it's fair to say that we were proud to show in our year-end results, because we are now publishing customer satisfaction in the year-end results, that by focusing really ruthlessly on all the customer pain points across our processes, we have seen customer satisfaction improving, loyalty improving. It's a journey. It will take much longer, but it's moving forward. On simplification, I had announced a year ago an 11,000 role reduction across Europe. And as of today, 7,000 of the 11,000 3-year plan has been actioned. Yep. And then finally, to close on B2B, we are seeing a good acceleration of our growth rate. We're now growing 5% and expect to accelerate further going forward with double-digit growth in the digital services I was mentioning earlier. As I said, I mean, there are no quick fixes here. Right. Yeah? It's a big transformation. A lot of change needs to happen, but it's moving forward.
And would you, now that you've got the shape where you're looking for it to be, would you consider exits in any other markets? Will you consider acquisitions in other markets that fulfill the criteria that you're working to?
As I just said, we had 3 markets to address, and they are all in progress. The markets we will continue to operate in have all the right conditions for us to deliver value and win in those markets. Then what's much more important is to continue on the operational excellence transformation that I was mentioning. So it's really in our hands to win in those markets.
Okay, and you've clustered some of your business, your assets, into an investments vehicle. How are you looking at that? Where does that go and fit strategically?
Yes, actually, this is an important point. I felt it was really essential for us to manage differently the markets we control, the ones we've just talked about, from the investments that we have in what we call non-controlled assets. And we have a range of investments in areas which are not always well known. They go from telecom operators, where, for example, we have VodafoneZiggo, shared with Mike in the Netherlands, to tower and other infrastructure plays, for example, in fiber building, to even satellites in innovation. All these have been now grouped under the Vodafone investment banner to be managed differently. And by managed differently, I mean a really simple governance with some specialists on finance and operations, a very small team that has the agility to allow us to get the best support to these assets and get the best value creation there.
Okay, and I'm asked to take one other switch. We're in the UK, key part of the organisation. Any messages for the UK government? There are big decisions coming.
Yes, obviously we have made a big bet on the UK. We are doubling up on the UK as our own market with the joint venture with Three. If I think government and priorities, obviously you would expect me to say this, but I think it's essential that the UK ups the game on investment and creating an environment that is favorable to investment. And in our case, clearly, infrastructure investment is very much needed.
Yes, and there's a very strong argument there around prioritizing of the infrastructure and its development rather than always prioritizing the consumer. And it's a balance to strike. We may come to it. And let's switch to Germany. Germany is 50% of your group's EBIT. Do you want to tell us a bit more about the challenges facing the business, but also what you are doing right now to improve performance, because it's pivotal?
Yes, it's an essential market for us. It's a great market for telecoms more broadly. We had been losing market share. Now, the good news is that in the last 12 months, we have brought Germany back to growth, which was obviously the #1 priority. As we go into the current fiscal year, we are going through a big transition in Germany because there has been a change on a TV law that affects the market, but in particular Vodafone. So we are now going to see in the next coming months the headwinds from this TV law change on our TV revenues. But we will continue to focus on accelerating the underlying business. And fundamentally, as I said, this is a year of transition for Germany and for Vodafone. Despite the headwinds on TV, we have been guiding for growth in Vodafone as a whole. As we move into FY26, and this headwind will be behind us, then we look forward to see Germany again as a big growth engine for the group.
Okay, and just a sub-question, but how are you thinking about fiber transition in Germany?
There is a lot of focus on the dynamics, again, of the various technologies. I think if you think about it, we discuss about cable, DSL, fiber, in technology terms, but what really does matter to us is to ensure that we give our customers the best experience at all points. And what this best experience is can vary depending on the markets and can vary also over time. You can see it from our position in the UK. We want to give our customers in the UK the choice of the best service across the country. The same is true in Germany. Our network in fixed broadband is offering to our German customer the largest gigabit footprint of any other operator. And it's not for me to say it, but all the sort of independent tests on quality of the experience and the networks tend to rank us as number one. There has been one recently, just 10 days ago from CHIP. We are giving the best experience to our customers. Obviously, we are keen to continue in the same way, and we will do this by fiberizing our cable network continuously. We keep investing on it. We are building fiber directly in some areas, and we will also wholesale fiber in some areas outside our footprint. Again, the important point is not the labels we give to technologies, it's what the customers get at the end.
Okay, thank you. That's very clearly put. Now I'm going to switch. You talked about business as being at the heart of the Vodafone brand, what customers expect. Can you tell us more about your plans, the opportunities to grow? Are there any acquisition ideas and opportunities within that space as well?
There is investment on the way, mostly organic.
Okay.
I cannot completely rule out that if we need some specific capabilities, we may end up acquiring them with M&A, which tends to always capture the attention on the news flow. But the most important point is actually the way we change how we operate. And for me, 3 areas of intervention now in B2B. First of all, on people, acquiring B2B talent. My new CFO is coming from B2B. I will have a new B2B lead from next month that is coming from the global IT industry. We really need to up our game there. 250 million additional investment coming this year on B2B, which is not going to be M&A or, if you want, product acquisitions. We have an asset-light strategy. It's going to be marketing. It's going to be sales. 20% of our B2B revenues are the digital services I was mentioning before. There is no reason why they shouldn't be more than that. That's the demand of our customers. So it's for us to equip ourselves to serve them better. And then some of you may have heard about partnerships. I'm very keen to make sure we bring, again, to our customers the best products. So we have partnered with Microsoft with a broad strategic partnership because we think that's what we need to bring them.
Yep. Okay. And I'd now like just to step back and look at the industry overall, Margherita. And the sector's had its challenges, and Alex outlined some of those earlier, and the opportunities, and its challenges with regulation, competition, investment cycles. And going forward, what do you see as the fundamental shifts in that landscape that need to happen to enable the industry to perform at the levels that you expect to see as we look forward?
I think the industry in Europe has suffered a lot, and the problem statement has been very clear. If I may even go one step further in simplifying what Alex was saying. If you look at the situation across the continent today, what you find is networks which in mobile are now falling behind the rest of the world. We used to say we are behind the US, behind China, behind Korea. We are now behind South America. The reason why our networks are falling behind is because they are underinvested. The operators invest the minimum they can get away with. And the reason why the investments are so low is that the returns are well below the cost of capital. And therefore, funds don't come to the industry. And the reason why the returns are so low is excessive fragmentation. This mantra, which was created maybe in the phase in which the consumer internet was all what people had in mind for mobile networks, that each country needs to have at least 4, if not 5, fully fledged 5G infrastructure covering the full territory. I mean, there are no economics in 5G that can get you to a return in excess of cost of capital with 4 networks covering the full territory. It's specific to Europe, and as I say, it may be the result of some past theories. Today, the world is different. We are in the phase of the industrial internet, and all our economies are starting to suffer for the reasons that Alex was highlighting. We are going into a world in which we need to connect sensors, applications in mobility environment, AI-powered, obviously everyone is talking about AI, none of that will be possible without well-invested 5G networks. And the biggest worry I think we all have is that by the time things change, it will take also time to catch up. But I think this is a critical year for the industry, with also a lot of change happening across Europe. I think policymakers understand the need for well-invested, secure networks, and hopefully we can also build a bull case from that.
Margherita, I think on that note, we'll call it a halt. I'd love to ask you many more questions, but let's hope for that bull case. And if I could have a round of applause for Margherita, thank you.
Thank you, Julia.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.